Hello everybody. Okay, so today I've been playing around with my my white SL project, and I've removed these bass drivers, which were a set of SL700 SE bass drivers that all the surrounds had cracked. And they're a dual material surround. So this is a cone with a dual material. You can see rubber on the outside and a kind of PVC on the inside. I'm sure you can see that, and what tends to happen is they crack along the join, which means when the cone is moving, air is able to pass through the cracks. Eventually the cracks will work all the way around and the cone will just vibrate out of control. So on these, I completely remove the surround, and you need to cut right fine edge right to the edge of the cone as flush as you can get it, and then reapply the surround. So what I'm going to do is just check that there's no coil rubbing. So what have we got there? We've got 125 hertz. Drop it down to 63. You probably can't see on that video, but you might be able to see that surround pulsing in and out. That's 20 hertz. And there's absolutely no coil rubbing. Okay, I'm going to pause this, move the camera and try the other one. Okay, this is the second bass unit. Again, same problem. The surrounds had completely deteriorated, and I've re-surrounded it with this new rubber surround. Now this is possibly going to change the sonic characteristics, but at least it gets an SL bass driver working, especially one as rare as the SL700 SE. Now the other way I could have done this is I salvaged very good condition dual material cones and surrounds off a pair of blown bass drivers, which I could have removed the whole cone off the chassis, leaving just the spider and the voice coil, and then reassembling this back on. That's not very easy to do. I have done it before, and unfortunately, I didn't have these kicking around when I did this repair here. So one of the next videos I'll do, I will try and show a transplanted cone and surround onto a new chassis or an old chassis. So 125, no buzzing, 63. And we'll just let that wobble around at 20 hertz, and there's absolutely no coil rubbing, which is what you want. Like I said in the DITM 33 video, you could test this with music, but it's very difficult to work out if the coil's rubbing because there's so much noise going on or sound going on when you've got music playing. And if I just set that at 20 hertz wobbling away, I'm just checking on the video, you can actually see that, but we can give that quite a lot of power. I mean, that's really jumping around. Okay, so I now know there's absolutely no coil rub on these bass drivers, which is great. It means I will be able to use them on a repair, or if I get anything coming in the future with damaged bass drivers, I can fit them in because they work. Now, the only reason I'm not going to put them in these is because I showed a video the other day of those new old stock units that I got, and I really want to try and make these as good as I can. So I'm going to fit those dual material surround bass units, new old stock ones, into these. I've removed the crossover from inside, so once I've finished with the crossover design, that's going to be on the back. I'm going to do away with these terminal posts as well. I'm going to put something better on there. They may end up bi-wireable, I'm not 100% sure on that. But I have given it a little bit more internal volume by removing that crossover. Not much, but a little bit. And more importantly, it does mean that the foam can sit perfectly flat in the back of the cabinet. So you've got two different types of reflectivity and absorbency materials of types of foam in here. So as the sound waves come in, they're absorbed in a certain manner and reflected in a certain manner, and the back foam is absorbed and reflected in a different manner. Now that's now sitting perfectly flush, very flat. If anybody's ever taken an SL700 apart, the crossover floats inside the foam, between two layers of foam. And I suppose the idea with that was to reduce vibrations, but it also means that the foam can sit perfectly flat. You've got no funny bump around the crossover. So I'm going to try and mimic that in some way, but I'm going to externally mount the crossover. That's for two reasons. One, I can play about with the crossover while it's outside of the cabinet rather than having to completely keep taking the damn thing apart all the time. And for that reason of giving me a bit more internal volume and getting that foam to sit absolutely flush inside the cabinet. Anyway, I will get on with these. They will be finished hopefully in the new year, because I really want to be done with them. I want them finished so I can sit back and enjoy them, because that project has been going on a little bit longer than I'd hoped. I think sometimes you end up with all these crazy radical ideas that you think, oh, that might work, and that delays the project. For example, one thing I did think about doing was either, as this has got a recessed baffle, the baffle sits slightly further in to stiffen the cabinet up, I did think about having some glass which would be nearly an inch thick mounted in the back, or having some resin kind of poured in there, clear resin, to really stiffen up this back cabinet. And I even thought about, once the crossover's done, having that resin sort of poured into that so it's trapped in there. And I thought that's not a good idea, because if the caps ever need replacing, I won't be able to get to them. So that one's gone out the window. But who knows, I'm not 100% sure. This may go on and on and on and on and on. But once I've got that crossover right and got the driver combination right, I should be able to crack on with these. Anyway, that's the little video for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Take care. I'll catch up with you soon.